Zach Cox, Dakota Randall here at MetLife Stadium preparing for the Patriots Week 8 matchup with the New York Jets. It's the first matchup of the season between these two longtime AFC East rivals, and the second time these teams will see each other in the span of 4 weeks. Big story coming into this game, as it was last week, as it was the previous week, as it was the week before, Patriots quarterback situation. Today, Mac Jones off the injury report. Bill Belichick confirmed this week that he will start and will have a full workload in this game, so we shouldn't see any quarterback switching based on health in this game, even though there was a report that came out late this week that Mac Jones has not yet fully recovered from that high ankle sprain. He's still dealing with numbness in his toes, according to Mike Giardi over at NFL Network. So this is really the most important stretch of Mac Jones' NFL career coming up. I don't think that's hyperbole to say. Bill Belichick this week, even though he did say that Mac Jones will start this game, he did not make any long-term proclamations about him as the New England Patriots starter. So it does seem, at least outwardly, that this is a situation where Mac Jones needs to prove to the Patriots that that should still be his starting job, and that Bailey Zappi should remain on the bench, and that has to start here today against New York.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Mac Jones today. I think, like as you mentioned, Bill Belichick was as definitive as he really has been all along in terms of naming Mac Jones a starter. He didn't come right out with it. We kind of had to drag it out of him the other day. But he is going to start. He made no bones about that. But like you said, he didn't clarify whether Jones will be the starter going forward, and that's a huge contrast from what we've seen in the past with Cam Newton a couple years ago. Obviously, if you want to make the comparisons with Tom Brady back in 2014 or the Drew Bledsoe thing way back, I think everything Belichick does is calculated. So to me, it's a deliberate choice on his part not to publicly back Jones. And I think, on the one hand, I question whether that's the right move. But on the other hand, I think at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, and Mac Jones hasn't been that great since the bye last season. I think there are a lot of ways that you can explain that away based on, the defense being the main issue down the stretch last year, the coaching turnover in the offseason factoring into the early season struggles this year. But regardless, I think it's very clear that I don't know if his job is on the line today. That might be strong, but I think at the very least, if he has a bad game today, given where the Patriots season will stand if they lose this game, it's going to be a real conversation going forward.
Yeah, Mac Jones, since that bye last year, 10 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So far this season, he has the worst interception rate in the entire NFL by a pretty significant margin. He's at 5.8 there. Kenny Pickett is the only other quarterback who's even above 4.5. And this is really uncharacteristic compared to what we saw from Mac Jones early in his rookie season, where he was really careful with the ball, a smart player, making good decisions. And really in every game this season, we've seen him make just kind of a almost baffling ball security decision, whether it's throwing a ball up into coverage, whether it's just the play that we saw with Jonnu Smith last week, where he just kind of sort of heaved the ball up off his back foot into no man's land. Those are the plays that he needs to eliminate going forward, even if he doesn't come out and light up the Jets for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. You need a clean game from Mac Jones, which we really just haven't seen so far this season. And it's also going to be very interesting to see how the Patriots' game plan looks with Mac Jones now back in there with a full workload, because it has looked significantly different when he's in there and when Bailey Zappi's in there. You see, when Zappi's in the game, it's a lot more under center work, it's a lot more play action, a lot fewer of those deep shots, and then with Mac Jones, it's much more aggressive, much more downfield, much less play action. Mac Jones, coming into this game, has the lowest rate of play action usage of any quarterback in the NFL, which, from an outsider's perspective, doesn't really seem like the best use of his skill set. So I think there's going to be a big microscope on Matt Patricia in this game to see how he manages things.
Yeah, I think those are great points, but I also think that at the end of the day, I don't really think the Jets offense will be able to do much against the Patriots defense today. I mean, we said that last week going up against the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields, and look what happened. I'm kind of writing that off as an anomaly. I do think there are some trends in that game that are concerning, specifically the linebacker play and how the Patriots have played against athletic quarterbacks, which could be an issue against Zach Wilson today. But I still think, at the end of the day, I don't think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball much. And so the Patriots, if they can protect Mac Jones, I think they should be able to win this game, despite a lot of people thinking the Jets now pass the Patriots, and to be fair, they are higher up in the standings. But again, I think if they protect Mac Jones, they should be all right, which for me makes the top matchup today on the offensive line with James Ferentz replacing David Andrews. And the Jets are great on the defensive line, especially Quinnen Williams. An easy way for this game to kind of blow up in the Patriots' faces is Cole Strange at left guard and James Ferentz up front to struggle against Quinnen Williams and some of those defensive linemen. And for them to pressure Mac Jones up the middle and make him uncomfortable, that can make the game unravel. And if the game starts, being 13-10, 17-14, anything really can go at that point. So the Patriots don't want that to let that happen.
Yeah, it's the old Tom Brady playbook. The interior pressure kind of throws everything off, and that is going to be a big matchup in that game. In this game, James Ferentz, this guy who's been here a long time, been with the Patriots since 2017. Only started 6 games in his NFL career, though. He's always been in that kind of backup, reserve, emergency option type guy. He's going to be in there in this game in place of David Andrews, who's recovering from the concussion he suffered last week. And that's a big change from a communication standpoint, too, because the Patriots' offensive line, over the last couple of weeks, seems to have remedied most of those communication issues that were a really big problem in the preseason and in those first few weeks of the regular season. But the center is the one who really leads that entire effort, and we got a new voice in there, especially when you remove somebody as experienced as David Andrews. That's going to be a definite wild card here and an X factor for the Patriots. But you mentioned the defense. We should switch over to that side. Jonathan Jones this week, the Patriots cornerback, said there's a hunger in the Patriots defense to rebound after last week, and you would hope so, because that was a pretty humbling performance, I would say, against Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears. I think they face a pretty favorable matchup in this game, both just based on the fact that I don't think either of us are particularly impressed with Zach Wilson so far at this point in his career. The Jets are 4-0 with Zach Wilson at quarterback this season, but he has not thrown a touchdown pass in his last 3 starts. He's really been kind of a passenger in this Jets offense, and that's a Jets offense that will not have its number 1 running back in Breece Hall, lost for the season last week to a season-ending injury, and also will not have its best offensive lineman, Elijah Vera Tucker, also lost to a season-ending injury, and they also won't have Corey Davis, their veteran receiver, today. So a lot of important missing pieces on this Jets offense. Combine that with an inexperienced quarterback, this is a game that the Patriots should be able to kind of bounce back defensively.
Yeah, and I think really the Jets have told you all you need to know about how they feel about Zach Wilson, where in the last season, they were really allowing him to freelance and run around and do like the mini Mahomes type of plays, and it resulted in a ton of turnovers. And this year, it looks like somebody over the offseason said, all right, we need to tightly manage this guy and really kind of reel him in. And he's not throwing the ball downfield much. It's not a lot of crazy plays. It's really conservative play calling, which again, I think plays into the hands of the Patriots. And as you mentioned, without Corey Davis out there, the one real explosive downfield threat, it's just going to be a lot of short passing game. And I imagine the Patriots will be able to handle that. But again, one thing that does concern me is, the book's out now on the Patriots defense that they don't do well against mobile quarterbacks. It's been the case for a long time. It's the case again this season. Zach Wilson is not Lamar Jackson. He's not Justin Fields, but he is athletic. He can get out there. So you wonder if the Jets are going to scheme something up in this game.
Yeah. Also interesting that the Jets elevated their 4th quarterback, Chris Streveler, from the practice squad for this game. Streveler's a guy who doesn't have much NFL experience, but he was a pretty talented rusher in the CFL and in this preseason for the Jets. So curious to see whether they add a couple rushing-related packages for him, because that, as you mentioned, has been a clear weakness for this Patriots defense.
Well, and to that end too, I think maybe the Jets are looking at it and saying, how we just said, if this game stays, 2-score game, like 14, 10, 13, whatever, that really it's just all it takes is one touchdown, one big score, and that can be maybe they bring him in. That I forget his name again. What is
Chris Streveler.
Yeah, maybe they bring him in for some gadget play, and then they get the score that they need, and that's all they really need in this game. And on the Patriots end, we kind of talk about it every week. They haven't done a trick play yet. And I know it's got
still waiting for the trick.
Yeah, we're still waiting for it. They haven't done one yet this season. And you wonder if this game is close at the end of the game. If either team tries to pull something out of their bag of tricks to get the score that they need, I think it's on the table.
And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that this is a borderline must-win game for the Patriots. You win this game, you're back to 4-4. You get the Jets and Sam Ellinger next week. Then you get a bye, or the Colts and Sam Ellinger. Then you get a bye. Then you get the Jets again the week after that. That's a pretty favorable stretch for the Patriots to really climb that into this AFC playoff picture. But you lose this game, you're 3-5. You're miles out of contention in the AFC East. And with the trade deadline coming up this week, maybe a loss here could prompt some potential selling from this Patriots. So very important game here.
Yeah, and I think as hard as it is to feel good about the Patriots right now, and I think a lot of that is based in the quarterback issues. The reality is, I personally think the Patriots are better than the Jets.
I agree.
As whatever's going on here in the background happens.
I think that's a Jet.
Yeah, I think that's a Jet. That's a good one. Yeah, sounds like a transformer. I do think the Patriots are better than the Jets, and so if you're looking at it, the Patriots could win this game, then they beat the Colts next week, go into the bye, come out with the Jets at home. I think there's a realistic chance that Patriots fans wake up. I think it'll be Monday, November 21st, with the Patriots 6-4 and in control of their playoff destiny, because at that point, all the teams that are kind of ahead of them in the standings, most of them anyway, Bengals, Bills, they face all those teams going down the road. So everything would be in front of them at that point. I think the second half schedule, while there are certainly some tough games in there, some of them don't look nearly as difficult as they did at the start of the season with the Cardinals and the Raiders. So again, it's not all doom and gloom. The Patriots are in a tough spot. They dug themselves into a hole, but I think there is a path out of it. And if they win this game, I think they can set themselves up for a good run.
Yep, and a second half run like that would need to start today here at MetLife Stadium, where kickoff is set for 1 p.m.